The Bengals quarterback battle rolls on. The defense continues to roll, and we know who is going to play on Friday night against the Falcons. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and let's dive into an eventful day here at Paycor Stadium. And we'll get to our practice takeaways in just a second. But Friday's game in Atlanta, it's preseason week 2, and the starters will play on defense. And that is the big revelation that Mike Hilton dropped on us while he was talking. And there were other chirps, I would say, of the defense wanting to play. And I think that this is a very valuable experience, or can be at least, for this defense because of Dax Hill, because of Nick Scott. They're both new on the back end. If you're going to play those two guys, you might as well play the entire first-team defense. The Falcons are playing their first-team offense, so you'll get a chance to see what this Arthur Smith offense looks like and how you can combat it. One of the practice takeaways is, man, this defensive front for the Bengals is tough because the Bengals offensive line has fared pretty well, and I think that they've played well throughout camp as a group. But this defensive line just continues to make it tough on these backup quarterbacks. And they haven't done themselves any favors, and we'll get into them in just a second. But I'm excited to see this defensive line go up against another group. They were really good against the Packers last week in the first team in that joint practice, so we'll see what they can do on Friday night. But Joe Burrow-less first-team offense, are they going to trot out there with no Joe Burrow? He's dealing with the calf strain, still working through it. Saw him today, and he's putting that sleeve back on his leg and still rehabbing and recovering and all of those things. It's not like he's going to go out there and play on Friday, which we already knew. It does not sound like, based on multiple conversations I've had, that the Bengals plan on playing any of their offensive starters. I'm told they'll go through warm-ups, and then that'll be that. Could it change? I guess so. I also think it's the right decision. And the reason I started with the preseason stuff, even though it's farther away than practice was, is because it kind of bleeds into practice. This Bengals first-team offense it's already playing with one arm tied behind its back. And it just is. Anytime you lose Joe Burrow, regardless of who the backup is, there's going to be a drop-off. But it's been a pretty significant drop-off, so much so that it impacts how the offensive line looks, how the receivers look, how the offense runs, what they can run, all of those things. And I'm not trying to be too mean to Trevor Siemian or Jake Browning, but it's been a struggle at times and certainly inconsistent. So the main decisions, there are no decisions starting lineup-wise that this coaching staff needs to make. The main decisions are about guys that are backups, guys that are pushing for roster spots or pushing to be the second string this or the second string that. So get those guys reps. For example, quarterback, get those guys reps. Trevor Siemian is going to start with the first-team offense on Friday night, and Jake Browning will get the second half, or not with the first-team offense, with the starters on offense, not the Bengals' actual starters, just to be clear. He will be the starting quarterback on Friday night. None of the Bengals starters will play. I definitely made that confusing, but I hope you understand. So that said, all of these battles get to be decided on offense. On defense, Nick Scott and Dax Hill haven't played together in live action. So I understand wanting to get them another look. Here's the other thing. They faced a backup quarterback all camp outside of Jordan Love for a joint practice. It would be nice to see another quarterback, another offense. They have a lot of weapons. Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. They got some dudes in Atlanta. So it's good for this defense to get out there and see what it's worth, what it can handle, and if they can make a similar splash that they've made throughout Bengals training camp. Let's get to these quarterbacks because Wednesday's practice was about the quarterbacks, and about halfway through the first team period, I'm like, man, Jake Browning looks really good. He looks better than Trevor Siemian, and Browning was working with the second team. And then they flip-flopped, and Browning is taking the first-team offense downfield against the first-team defense, and I'm like, oh, man, Jake Browning is just having a day. And then he threw a screen pass. It started off really great for Jake, and then it got pretty ugly. Screen pass to Jamar Chase that took way too long to get there. It was one of these with a lot of arc on it, and there was no time for Jamar to do anything. He got touchdown almost instantly, and then after that, there were multiple times where it was either sacks, where he held the ball too long, or downfield, he had Jamar Chase wide open, and I tweeted this clip out. Cam Taylor-Britt was able to intercept the ball because it was probably about 4 or 5 yards short, and Chase had to hold up. Just a bunch of things like that happened. And so did Jake Browning win the day? I think maybe, but it's close. And honestly, it might have been the other way. Trevor Siemian might have won the day because instead of throwing interceptions, he threw it into the dirt. It was an ugly day for both of these quarterbacks again. And what Friday is, and I'll do a video on exactly what I'm expecting on Friday night, but Friday is huge for these two guys, Jake Browning and Trevor Siemian. You have to show that you're an NFL quarterback. That's what this is. And I think there are people in this building that believe that both of these guys are NFL quarterbacks and have NFL talent, but you have to be consistent enough for that. It doesn't mean every throw is going to be perfect. I'm not holding to them to some impossible standard, but we need to see it on Friday night. And so that's a big thing to watch for, certainly something I monitored today. Chase Brown looked really fast today, carrying the ball. I thought he had a couple nice plays. Chris Evans as well. T. Higgins was out there with a sleeve on his left leg, and that's new. And we talked about it the other day, how he got tangled up and landed awkwardly, and then Nick Scott came over the top and accidentally ran into him. Well, he described it as minor. T was out there the entire practice, worked with the first team offense, and was out there during the team periods, had multiple catches from Jake Browning. So that's worth noting. There's a deep pass that's gone kind of viral on the internet of Browning going deep to Higgins. He would have gotten sacked there. Dax Hill was coming down, and that's one of my takeaways. Dax Hill, the blitzer, is kind of sneaky. I think he's got the athleticism, the speed, the instincts to give Lou Anarumo sort of a different layer to this defense that they might not have used or utilized as much with Jesse Bates because he was on the back end so much. You could just have the roaming Dax suddenly, boom. It was a new blitz that they used, and he would have gotten Jake Browning. So a lot of takeaways, most of them defense-related. Cam Taylor-Britt, on that play, it was underthrown, but he made a really nice play on the ball. I think that this defense is really fired up. They're confident. And on the flip side, these quarterbacks, these backups, are not confident right now. I think they've lost a little bit of that confidence. Now, they're going against a really good defense, but it's hard to not be able to find ways to get Jamar Chase the ball, and they were struggling to do it. Now, to his credit, he was calm during practice today. He's been calm throughout this process, but certainly something to monitor going forward. The defense continues to win. We'll see if they handle business. First team defense, if they can handle business on Friday night. We have a ton of videos coming your way. I know at least Jesse talked with Tyler Boyd and some others, so those are coming your way. I talked with Orlando Brown Jr. one-on-one about an event that we have coming up on August 22nd. So make sure you check that out. That will drop on Thursday, and it'll have all the details. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. For Andrew Fox Miller, our channel coordinator, I'm James Rapien, signing off for now on CBT, Cincinnati Bengals Talk.